How's it going, guys? So, game week 10 of the Premier League season, and it's safe to say that this week was a very good one for the two Manchester clubs. Both of them managed to pick up big victories, while pretty much every other team that would be challenging for a top 4 or top 6 spot messed up. With that being said, let's have a closer look at some of this week's matches. For who's flying high, I was tempted to go for Man United for their comeback victory against Southampton, but instead I've actually gone for West Ham, who picked up their third victory on the trot, this time against Aston Villa. West Ham admittedly weren't at their best in this game. Ollie Watkins could have had a couple of goals. He missed that penalty, and there was another ridiculous VAR decision where he was ruled offside because part of his arm was offside. But at the end of the day, they came away with 3 points, and that leaves them in 5th position on the table. I think that West Ham deserve quite a lot of credit this season because they had a very tough start to things. Their first 5 or 6 games were against strong opposition, and they came through those games relatively unscathed, and now that they're getting the chance to play some of the lesser teams in the league, they're getting the job done. And next week when they host Man United, I would give them every chance. For who dropped the ball, I'm actually going to divide this into 2 segments. First, I want to have a go at both Chelsea and Tottenham, who played out a boring 0-0 draw. The tactics in this game were clear. Tottenham wanted to sit back and be defensive and tight and compact and try and hit on the counter, while Chelsea wanted to prevent said counter from happening while dominating the play and creating chances by working the ball around the Tottenham box. It's safe to say both teams were successful in the first part of their game plan, but completely mucked up the second. For lack of a better word, this game was shite. There was very few chances, and football is meant to be entertaining. Just because Tottenham were sitting back and being defensive doesn't mean that the game has to be boring. They did the same thing against Man City the week before, and the game was actually pretty great because Man City really did their best to penetrate, and when given the chance to counter, Tottenham did it brilliantly. I don't know if both managers here are happy with the point, but I do know that for myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other fans, we weren't exactly happy watching it. The second part of who dropped the ball, I'm going for Southampton, who of course threw away that 2-0 lead against Manchester United. Look, Cavani was brilliant when he came on, but the Saints were very naive in this game. It was clear from the changes he was making that Hasenhüttl wanted them to close out the game, and they just went about it wrong, and it cost them in the end. For shock of the week, I'm going for the Fulham victory over Leicester. Now, take nothing away from Fulham because they were pretty decent in this game against a Leicester team that up until recently had people maybe thinking back to that title-winning season. But with that recent performance against Liverpool, followed up by another poor showing against Fulham last night, I think they're headed for that much more realistic mid-table finish. As for Fulham, they do look like they're starting to settle back into the league, and that win does take them out of the relegation zone, but for how long they manage to stay out of it remains to be seen. Now guys, before I announce the star of the week, last week I asked you which 2 teams featured in this classic performance, and it was of course that famous Celtic victory over Barcelona in the Champions League. This week I've got a nice easy one for you. All I'm asking is for you to say which team across all of England's top 4 divisions has the least amount of points so far this season. Comment below if you know the answer. Now, star of the week, and I was very tempted to go for Edinson Cavani in this one because he was brilliant when he came on at half-time. He changed everything in that game. His 2 goals were amazing, his assist was perfect, and he deserves a lot of credit and maybe a look in for starting in that Man United team. But unfortunately for him, there's one player that I think performed better this week, and that was of course Riyad Mahrez, the hat-trick hero of the Man City-Burnley game. The first of his goals came as a result of some brilliant Manchester City passing. The second was, I would say, classic Riyad Mahrez. He danced around the defence before smashing home. But his third goal was almost my favourite because it was a header. And I mean, how many headers do you see Riyad Mahrez scoring? He spent most of this game making a very solid defensive pairing in Tarkowski and Ben Mee looking like idiots. And I think that it should be time for him to be starting over Raheem Sterling, who's been struggling for form so far this season. Anyway guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like, comment your own thoughts below, subscribe for more footy chats, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.